show. I'm Victoria Turner, and this is Powerful People of San Diego. This is the series that we're doing on the Vintners in the Vineyards of San Diego. And we have here, for your viewing pleasure, a man representing the largest vineyard here in San Diego County. Please welcome Euan Parker. Welcome to the show, Euan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I see you brought us the biggest bottle of wine here in San Diego.
Yeah, that is a Methuselah. It's 9 liters in total, so that's good for a night out.
I think so. The whole weekend, maybe, for some of us. Now, tell me about your background in as an oenophile.
Sure. Myself, I grew up on a vineyard in New Zealand. I'm from New Zealand, hence the strange accent. Lots of sheep, beautiful nature, etc., etc. I then went and did a course in biochemistry and came back to the farm later on and decided I wanted to get into winemaking.
A clear progression. I like that.
So I went to France and did my master's in France.
Your master's in what?
In enology and viticulture.
As well, so you can drink and grow grapes.
Exactly, both. Yeah, you can grow it and drink it. Grow it, make it, drink it.
This is a good plan in my book.
Yeah.
And then, so how did you come over to FALLBROOK Winery?
I was consulting, doing a lot of winemaking consulting. I was in Spain and France, and then I came to the States, and I was working for a good friend of mine in a winery in Paso Robles, and it was just networking and connections and.
Just like all business.
Found the owners, and we just kind of fell in love, and that was it.
You're happily ever after. I have to talk to your wife about that. So you also belong to the San Diego Vintners Association.
We do, yep.
And how does your winery interact with all of the other vintners in San Diego?
We all have our own little patch of land, but also we share knowledge together about things going through the year, and there are challenges that we all face. There's some specific challenges also. There can be disease pressures going through the year. It's any crop you have certain pressures.
But what diseases do we have in San Diego in particular?
Specifically, we have Pierce's disease, which is...
Say it again?
Pierce's.
P-I-E-R-C-E-S?
That's correct, yeah. And it attacks vines very slowly. It comes through from a small bug that injects a bacterium into the vine itself, and then slowly over time that vine dies.
So you don't know about it until it's already dying.
It's actually really hard to see, and you see it through the year. And what you find is that those plants that are affected, the grapes on them become smaller. They don't mature correctly, and you have to really keep an eye out because it can affect your wine further down the line. Oh,
and how does it spread throughout a given vineyard?
It does spread. It's fairly slow, but most places don't have it in the United States.
Well, sure.
East Coast more so than the West Coast, but here we have it. Temecula also further north has it. And it does go slowly. What you end up doing is replacing probably 2% of your vines every year because of that.
That can become expensive.
Yeah, you just have to get used to it.
Yeah. Now, you personally oversee a number of specific vineyards. How big is a given vineyard?
Any given vineyard, we manage, or we have managed vineyards as big as 80 acres. We manage right down to 1 acre. We used to manage even smaller, but the size of who we've kind of become only allows us to do acre plots now.
So when you manage these vineyards, do you purchase all the grapes for FALLBROOK, or how does that work? We
used to run into problems with that, and there was problems with, you could say, a grower growing the grapes and thinking they are the best grapes, and then wanting to sell, thinking they could sell them to us, and we would say, well, we don't think they're the greatest. So our policy, FALLBROOK Winery's policy at least, is if we grow the grapes, we'll take them.
Yes, but if somebody else grows them.
But if someone else grows them, then
maybe yes, maybe no.
Maybe yes, maybe no. Yeah, you have to present it to us at the time.
In a special way. Yeah. And how do you determine if those grapes are up to snuff?
That's kind of the magic in it, in the vineyard at least. You need to be able to understand, it takes a while, what a good quality grape tastes like. You can look at the numbers, there's scientific measurements you can do. The ultimate thing is trusting your palate. And once you can get that, then you're going to make a good wine out of the grape.
So there's old vines and new vines, and this is the educational portion of the day. Sure. What's the difference between old vines and new vines, and how does that affect us in San Diego?
Old vines and new vines, we have quite a lot of new plantings. So in terms of the quality of wines, older vines tend to produce better quality wines. Younger vines can be good, and they can produce good quality wines as well, but in general it's not the case. So right now we're in a position where there's some vineyards where the vines are getting some good age. When a vine gets age, it throws its roots deeper and it's able to cope with stresses better. So it ends up producing better fruit in the end. So, and it's has more of a buffering zone with heat and cold if you're in another zone. So it's that's what the vine does to produce good fruit. It needs time. It needs to learn too, I guess you could say.
And does the soil in which the deeper vines go make a difference as well?
It can. It's all about getting your root to fruit to canopy ratio right. And a lot of people unfortunately forget the root part.
But how do you determine how deep the root is?
I mean, you can look, but
you dig down there, seriously?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, but it doesn't disturb the roots?
Well, we usually dig down when we find one that's finally gone, and
okay.
we go have a look and see. Okay, it's like
if it's spread out.
But more importantly than the roots is getting your soil right. If you have good soil, you have good roots.
And what determines good soil?
Structure,
which is
water holding capacity. So whether your soil can let through enough oxygen, whether it has good flora in there supporting the roots, whether it has good natural nitrogen, potassium, all those salts.
Isn't that true for tomatoes and citrus, and it's true for all growing plants?
Absolutely, it is. But if you don't reinvest in your soil, if you were just taking away, then the problem occurs.
So part of the magic is determining what sort of minerals and et cetera to add back to your soil.
Yeah, and sometimes people get lucky. They have really high organic matter content, and they don't have to add much back. And if they're doing good composting, they can get away with no additions, and that's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we're slowly heading in that direction too with our vineyards also.
By adding more compost?
That's all we're doing now for additions on the ground. Yeah.
And what kind of things do you put in your compost?
So we put horse manure. Horse manure is fantastic for compost. We take all of the previous year's skins, seeds.
You recycle.
All of the cuttings. We do the prunings. We recycle all of those, chop them up together, and then we get a big compost heap steaming away over winter. It's if you go now,
it takes a year or two for that.
Yeah, a year or two to go through properly. What that does is it creates this really amazing humus, this brown clay stuff. You can rub it between your hands. Smells fantastic at the end. It doesn't smell rotten or anything. It smells amazing.
Because it's cooked for a year or more.
It's cooked. Yeah, exactly. And that goes back onto the vines. And
what else does your winery do that is ecologically imperative?
We also plant cover crop. So part of that is keeping our soil there on the property. The big deluges we've had recently, and we've noticed if we have a good cover crop, we don't lose as much soil, topsoil. In fact, the last time we had the rainfall last week, it was the best I've ever seen it. So we're really happy about that. What that cover crop does actually is it outcompetes the weeds you don't want there, and we put on cover crop that's beneficial for our soil. So they give a bit of nitrogen, fixed nitrogen from the air into the soil, and make it healthier, lift it, kind of give it air. The roots penetrate, give it air. A lot of people do this sort of farming where they just cultivate and like have a monoculture. In my opinion, it's not a good idea. You need to aerate your soil with roots. You need to get other things in there. Also, some of the weeds, if you like, they're not weeds, the beneficials, attract beneficial insects. So we get ladybirds and small wasps coming in that attack other wasps and caterpillars and things like that are detrimental. So
that means less labor for you to pick later?
Less labor and actually less sprays in the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a huge issue. Yeah. Oh my gosh, what kind of cover crops are appropriate for that?
We use barley, you can use chicory,
and do you
legumes.
Sell that later, or do you work that into the soil?
No, each year we put it back into the soil. We get the seeds going, get like a nice seed bank, we chop it down and till it back into the soil, just the topsoil, and then it comes through usually November or December. Yeah.
It's time to chop it up.
Yeah.
So you've been in France and Spain and many other countries. How does San Diego County compare in terms of not only growing, but also in the wines they produce? How to other places have you seen?
Since I've been here, which is only 3 years, they're improving every year. I'm amazed at how the quality is going up. San Diego is not known for its wine.
Yet?
Yet, exactly. It's going to happen. Yeah. We have around ourselves, every week we're getting calls. We install vineyards.
Oh, you install it. So if I call you up and go, I just bought this house out in the desert, can you come out?
Exactly. We'll go out, check it out.
Advise you whether not.
Our limit is an acre, starting, yeah.
Okay, starting, okay.
Yeah.
That's 2 houses, okay.
Yeah, 2 houses exactly, or more. And we'll go out and check it out, and we'll do some soil samples and see what we can do. We do 26 different vineyards like that at the moment.
Really? So a private party with enough land and enough money can just call up and ask, and you'll insert that. And then you'll manage it as well.
We can manage it as well, yes.
Now let's pretend that you don't buy the grapes. What does Joe Smith, who owns this vineyard of 1.5 acres, what do they do with all those grapes? Big party!
Yeah, some people make their own wine out of it, and some people do a good job of it also, or they will sell them to other vendors, maybe we won't take them, but
there's lots of people who might. There's 117 vineyards here in San Diego now, so it could be done or not. So are you considered an estate winery?
We're an estate winery
because
the wines that we make for these estate wines in here all come from the land that we farm in that space in FALLBROOK.
So you're vertically integrated from the land to the bottle.
Yes, we do have some other wines that are our entry-level wines. We call them entry-level wines.
They're entry-level wines.
Which we get grapes or juice from other places. They cannot go under the estate label by law. So
by law. So who does the tasting to determine the makeup of any given bottle?
That's me, mostly.
You're a busy guy.
Yeah. We have a lot going on, actually.
Apparently so. Yeah.
We have about 100 SKUs, and not
What's
about.
a SKU?
So it's just one product line.
Like each individual bottle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not just ours, but we do custom crush as well. So people bring their grapes, we make their wine for them, they put their labels on them.
That's fun. Yeah. So I'd have to buy somebody else's grapes to give it to you and then design a little label and have a party.
That happens all the time.
No kidding.
2 or 3 new people each year, and maybe 1 drops off. So we seem to just be
keeping those numbers going.
Yeah.
So if I was the goddess of good things in the vineyard world in San Diego, where do you see it going? Where could it go? How could it get there?
Well, it's going to get more differentiated. You have some AVAs that are already made.
Okay, tell people what AVAs are.
So American Viticultural Area is an AVA. It's almost the same as AOC. It's AOC is appellation control in France and Spain and Italy. They have their denomination of origin.
Which designates a specific area. The wine has to come from that area and it has to be estate.
Exactly. So we have that here. We have Ramona and San Pasquale Valley.
Just the 2? Are there more than that?
The Highland Valley, I'm not sure if it's one yet, but very soon I think it will be. We are also doing work now to produce our own little AVA also.
And in the area that your vineyard is?
Yes, it's going to be encompassing. There's more vineyards and more wineries actually coming on the block very soon. So we're talking to those people already. We want them to be in the same area. Yeah.
And so how are you suggesting the new little wineries that are coming up? How are they going to integrate with you? Let's pretend I wanted to. I just bought a piece of property and I want to do a winery. Don't know what to do. What do you advise?
My advice would be
First, join the Vintners.
Vintners. Join the Farm Bureau. Also, get your winery going before you get your grapes going, because
how do you do that?
Permits out of this world for trying to.
How long does the permitting process take? Ballpark.
Depends on your size, but if you want to be a small winery, it's going to be like 2 years.
2 years, wow. Is that a boutique winery?
Boutique is a little bit quicker, I believe.
Because of that law?
Yes. I don't know the law, actually, but yeah,
it's a little faster.
Heard,
okay. In general, it's 2 years for a smaller winery.
2 years for a smaller winery,
And then a little bit bigger?
And then a little bit bigger, so 2 to 3 years, depends. There's no.
And this is just paperwork. This is not planting your.
That's paperwork. You have the TTB, the ABC, the county, water. You got to tick off all those boxes, building permits.
All right, that's 20,000 or more. More.
Good luck.
Okay, that's a significant amount. Okay,
it's a good amount. They say if you want to be a millionaire in the wine business, start a billionaire. So.
So what's the funnest wine for you to make up there?
It's the owners give me quite a bit of play, which is great. And so this guy here I did last year for the first time. It's a Sauvignon Semillon blend. It's the first time that FALLBROOK's done a Sauvignon Semillon. And
what do you like about it?
It's very Bordeaux-esque in its style, which I kind of know those wines and made the wine to reflect like a Bordeaux style. When people drink it, they love it, but they're so used to having the New Zealand style, which I also have made a lot of. It kind of throws them. They're expecting something else, and then they go, "Oh, well, this is actually quite good." And I didn't know Sauvignon could be this way. You know? It has got a little bit of Semillon in it also, which you don't see a lot of around here. So that kind of adds a little bit of spice to the mixture.
Yeah. So that makes it really different from anything else that's on the market right now.
Yeah, and then we've got a port we did also last year. This year we've done a sweet rosé. We're trying some different varieties as well. So,
have you been to the other vineyards, their tasting rooms?
Yes.
And what is it that you look for when you go to another tasting room?
Because I'm so involved with the industry, I tend to be blindsided by the actual the wine, the intrinsic value in the wine rather than the exterior. So I'm probably not the right person to ask for that, but a tasting room should be it should be one style. I feel like a house should be one style.
Okay.
Sometimes tasting rooms, I find they mix things up and have several styles going on, and maybe the owner went to Italy and France and bought all these different pieces, but they don't match. What I like to see in a tasting room is pieces in there that match the wines that are complementary, I guess is the best word.
So you mean like it would be all an Italian style, or?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So if you were designing, well, you have designed your own tasting room. What sort of thing? Now, I haven't been there, so.
Well, I mean, our tasting room is very simple because also the owners are very much about the content in the bottle rather than what's around
what the room looks like.
So we've never really invested a lot in that. However, we are going to look further and putting an off-site tasting room somewhere soon.
Soon, because you see all of San Diego growing, and you want a bigger room or a more delicate room?
Doesn't need to be bigger, just more of a presence where, there's more gentrification perhaps and growth and some. FALLBROOK's a little bit out of the way, and we don't have other wineries up and running yet, so the wine trail's not there. It's coming,
right?
But it's not quite there yet. So most of our business has been distribution inside San Diego. We do a lot of retail, do a lot of restaurants. We've never done a lot of direct-to-consumer, but that's changing slowly. So
fast. It's changing with the boutique wineries. It's changing very fast.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're happy to see that, but we're also wanting other wineries to come around us. And people say, "Wouldn't that be competition?" No, it's not. When people go out, they usually like to see 2 or 3 wineries. So for us, we think it's a good thing.
It's a big plus, and ergo your participation in the Vintners Association.
Yeah.
So how do you see the Vintners Association supporting the wineries in San Diego?
Good. It's also growing. It's very young in its infancy, and I think that in the past it's been a lot of ma and pa trying to work their land and make the wine, which is great. Where it's kind of faltered in the past, it's starting to get a bit better, is that there hasn't been the knowledge base. Or people are trying to grow vines and wines like they would in Napa or somewhere else they've been, or in Italy. They went to Italy and they saw this variety and they planted it, and then it's not working. Why is that? Things like that, and they end up ripping it out. It's
waste of time, waste of money.
Yeah, they're impassioned. They want to do it, but sometimes it's just the lack of, or has been. It's changing. A lack of education, lack of knowledge. Yeah.
Which they can get if they show up, because at the San Diego Vintners Association, you have consultants who come and talk about the wines, and they're available for consultation to find out what a better rootstock might be.
Exactly, and see that's what's happening, and it's great, to get to a point. We're never going to make Napa Cabernet.
No,
we're not Napa Valley,
right?
But we're going to make good Cabernets.
Right. Outstanding cabs.
And they're starting to show. So it's if we shoot for a target, we have to kind of think, well, is that what we want to be? Because maybe that target's actually not the right target we should be shooting for. And I think those targets have been changed through education with the STCVA and the people that they're bringing in. That's helping a lot.
That's amazing. Now, I know FALLBROOK Winery has won numerous awards for your wines. Which ones are the most popular?
We have, did I bring it? Yeah, I think this one down the front here is the BDX. I'll just check that. Yep.
And why? What award did you win for that, and what makes it an outstanding wine?
This is, it's an interesting one. It's got 5 varietals in it. It's Merlot, Cabernet, Petit Verdot, Malbec, and Cabernet Franc. And basically, we choose the best barrels to go in it. It's become our flagship, wine. And each year we're selling more. You can buy this almost everywhere now.
Really? But you're the only one who makes it.
There are other places doing a BDX as well, and they have their version of it. Our version has 5 varietals, and we try and make it not necessarily the same as the year before, but have similar attributes anyway. We aim for something big and something that you can really have a nice piece of
beef with,
red meat with, yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you a really unfair question, but you have to answer it anyway. So you have some knowledge of the other 113, 116 vineyards here in San Diego. Which one, if I gave you X number of dollars and said, I'm going to go buy this for you, which ones would you say, they're doing an outstanding job? Just as good as... I told you I was going to stick you, huh? Yeah, but something that you taste it and you like it and you said, they're doing a good job with this, I would drink this at home.
Okay, well, I guess
besides you guys, not including you.
I'd have to give a shout out to Domain Artifact. They seem to be doing, or at least the guy Mark there is doing some really good things, some very interesting things also.
When you say that styles. from a oenophile standpoint, So I haven't had his wine. So what is it that a person should look for?
He's not trying to. He's letting the fruit express itself. Which I like to do also. There tends to be a tendency to over oak a lot of wines. People like oak. That's fine. That's great
for that market.
Yeah. But if you can really let the fruit shine through, if I want to pick up a bottle of Grenache Blanc and I want to taste Grenache Blanc. I don't want to taste Chardonnay or
the other 15.
Or something else that's in it, or a massive oak bomb that's hiding the natural fruit. So that's kind of my line of thinking. I know that's his line of thinking.
Because you can taste it.
Yeah, and then I probably align myself with that.
Along those lines. Yeah. Anybody else?
Geez.
I should have told you ahead of time I was going to ask you this, huh? You have time to think.
There's a few around. I'm trying to remember the one across the road from Altopiano, I think it's called.
Altopiano, okay.
They're making some nice Italian varietals up. It's close to remote. It's not quite. It's more Highland Valley.
Where the new AVA is going to go.
Yep. So yeah, they're close together, those vineyards, and it's an exciting area. I find Ramona wines quite big. They're not quite my style in general. That's just honesty. But I know the quality has got better even since I've been here. So.
Really, just in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And how much technology would you say is benefited?
Technology benefits, it does, but you have to know how to use technology too. A lot of the small wineries can't afford to do that.
Can't afford to do what specifically?
Specifically, so stainless steel's expensive. One. Barrels are expensive. So a lot of startups, they're looking at the price of these, and quite often when you're starting, you have little money because the permits have taken all of it. So you buy the cheaper flex tanks to start off with in mind. Going ahead, you're going to get the stainless steel and the better barrels. And so that's sort of one thing that most people default on first when they start a winery is that. Good pumps, good filtration systems. Filtration systems differ. That's also the.
And that makes a huge difference in the wine.
Yep. bottling systems. You know, a big concern at bottling is how much oxygen is actually the wine's getting as it's being bottled. So if you can have technology that allows you to have less oxygen in the bottle, things like that, or vice versa, you can add oxygen if you have the right equipment also and measure that amount. So
that's a whole lot of stuff. Oh, talk to me very briefly about the fundraiser for the SDVC. You guys have this big event.
Each year we do a wine tasting with everybody included, and it was in the same place the last 2 years, I believe.
So let's pretend that we are going together to this next big event, and there's 10,000 wines there. I can't possibly taste them all. What criterion should I use, not knowing anything, to determine where I should start tasting?
Okay. There won't be that many wines, but there will be a lot, that's true.
More than I can drink at one time.
A good place to start is, what variety do I like?
Okay.
And go around the tables and choose a variety that you like, and someone's got it. Try that wine. If it's good, then maybe try the other ones that they have. More likely, you're probably going to come back to the wine or the variety you like, but I think if they make your variety well, then you've got a good chance of tasting some other wines there that are...
And then you can make a determination about if this is something you like, if it's too sweet, too bitter, whatever. So
a lot of wineries have their style. So you'll find that's why people join wine clubs. You know, we've got a wine club.
Okay, talk to me. What's a wine club, and what's the benefit of joining anybody's wine club?
So the benefit of joining a wine club is you get special discounts on the wines. You get them shipped to you. You get also small batches first before the rest of the public.
And that's a big plus.
Yeah. So quite often I'll make one barrel of something. It just goes to a wine club. The general public will never see it.
Never sees it. So you give them the good stuff right off the top.
Yep. Yeah. And then wine events. We do wine. I don't know about other wineries. We do wine events with club members involved and invited.
Special parties.
Yep. Special parties, pick-up parties also. So not picking up people, but picking up the wine.
Darn. That's great. Well, we're rolling down to our last 60 seconds here. I want to thank you all for being here to learn about wine, to learn about FALLBROOK Wineries, the San Diego Vintners Association, and the enormous growth that we have in our vineyards here in San Diego. Stay tuned to see what is next on the horizon.
It's happening. Yeah.
It's happening. Well, grab a glass of wine and here's to you.